Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. In this video, this is going to be a free healing today, and it's designed for people that suffer with osteopenia and osteoporosis. So to do with the bones, bone remodeling, to do with your skeletal system structure. And these issues are due to ossification or osteogenesis, right? Which essentially means that it's a process by which bones develop and grow. Okay, so when we're looking at osteoporosis, we're talking about bones that weaken, right? And the density decreases, right? That's when someone gets a bone scan to see what the density, the bone density is like. And the internal structure of the bone becomes more porous, okay? So generally, when we look at that, especially in regards to density, for me, it's mineralization, okay? And, because this is all living tissue we're talking about, right? And for me, when I look at living tissue, we're talking about matter, right? Which is what we perceive as something that's physical, right? But all matter originates from energy, because energy becomes matter, okay? And it's very much the reason why we're here, right? We're an infinite, authentic soul consciousness, and as a consciousness, that's us as formless frequencies. And we come here to use this vehicle that we perceive in the physical, we call a body, to convert those formless frequencies into formed creation. Our choices, which utilize those formless frequencies, literally become matter, right? Hence, this is why we always say, hey, you matter, because that's what you're doing. In every moment, your choices, how you're applying yourself as what you are as an energy, that's what you're doing. You're creating reality. You're creating matter. So when we look at bones, this matter, and we're looking at mineralization, so obviously we're talking about minerals, right? And of course people will jump straight to, well, that's, we get that from our food that we eat, and which is also matter as well, right? But it originates. Where does it originate? Like we originate from frequencies, right? And energy that became matter as well. Okay. So when we see it like that, it's not, we can all of a sudden realize that we don't have to rely on gaining minerals from its matter state or its physical form, which we would say is getting it from diet, right? From animal source or plant source, right? Eating vegetables, eating fruits, eating meat or eggs and these sorts of things. So this is where this free healing comes today, because when we present our natural state, okay, and our natural state is what allows what we infinitely are, what we authentically are as a soul consciousness, to experience here, right? And the key of that is our heart, okay, because there's so much more to the heart that meets the eye, right? Because we only see 0.0035% of reality. But the heart is much more than just a pump, right? And a reason why heart disease is the number one killer of humans is because from that level of knowing, right, through medicine, through science, they really don't know what the heart is. Because if they knew what the heart was, heart disease wouldn't be the number one killer of humans, right? The heart got us here originally. So when this vehicle was being formed, right, coming into creation as matter, right, your mother is literally creating this form, right? That is an empty shell originally. You haven't arrived yet. And the first organ that forms in regards to that embryo, which actually informs outside of the embryo, makes its way in, is the heart. And the heart, and see the heart like the spaceship. It's the portal that got you here. right? And you touch down and you arrive as a soul consciousness, what you infinitely, authentically are. So the heart is the facilitator of what you infinitely and authentically are. And it's also the reason you continue having an experience here as long as that heart beats. And that beat is a physical expression of that vortex. And the vortex is the form of flow. And that flow is your energy coming through it to be realized to be here. Okay? Now the problem becomes, and at that level, you're an infinite consciousness, which means an infinite source of frequencies, which is the foundation of everything we physically see, right? Every aspect of matter, including minerals. This is where we're getting, okay, right? But as a human, we're taught to be thinkers. We're taught to analyze everything, to evaluate everything, to compartmentalize everything. And that means we live up here. And when we live up here, we compromise that passage, that pathway that's going to provide us the foundation, the baseline of every element, mineral, vitamin, nutrient that we know of, that exists inside you. Okay. This is why we're seeing these problems, not just in the sake of this healing video that we're going to do in regards to osteoporosis, osteopenia, but all the problems. Because what they all have in common is, yes, demineralization, right, which is connected to degeneration. But also, we lose our energy flow. Why? Because that energy flow, that facilitates what you are. The heart, right? And this again is why heart disease is the number one killer of humans, because we're not utilizing what we perceive as this organ that is a pump, which is much more. We're not utilizing it in the way it was designed, because we're up here all the time, okay? And when we're up here, we're not facilitating enough energy flow and enough of the baseline foundation of what creates all this matter, all the things that sustains this form. We're not enabling that. And also from here, we're making decisions and choices with a limited amount of energy to create more of what doesn't sustain us, that's not good for us, instead of what is. Okay. So that's going to be a part of this free healing we're going to do now. So that's osteoporosis, osteopenia, bone loss. Okay, so this is when the body doesn't make new bone as quickly as it reabsorbs old bone. So we can clearly say that's a process that occurs, right? A physiological process. Okay. Now, the other thing about when we get our heart open, yes, we present the baseline foundation of everything that's physical that the body needs to sustain from, which is frequencies, right? When they go beyond a cellular level and they go into particle level and atomic level, what's left? A waveform, that's frequency. It's the foundation of everything we perceive and what is relatable to our physical world. Okay, so we bring all that through, but also what we bring through is an intelligence, which we call a soul. That's an intelligence, that's a consciousness. Because one thing we know in regards to our momentary process, right? We need, yes, the body needs flow and it needs energy, right? The foundation of everything that's going to heal it, maintain its wellness or vitality. But it's also providing us wisdom to make the right choices, but also wisdom that instructs the physiological processes, including, right, the ability to reabsorb old bone at the same rate of making new bone that supports us. Okay. Very important. So we're going to do 2 clearings now. So here comes the free healing. Okay, you ready? Right, for everybody watching and listening to this free healing video, I want to open their heart with flow, please. Which is to enable a vortex, which is the form of flow, right? That waveform of their own light, their own soul consciousness, to come through the heart, right? To be realized, to be represented through your form, your physiology, and beyond. Because you've got to remember, your auric field goes beyond the body. And that auric field, that's you. Right? This is why I say to my clients, when we get out natural state, when we're in our natural state and our awareness is here and that heart opens, it facilitates what we are. What happens to our field? It expands, and it keeps expanding out. Which means through being, not doing, through being, you're making changes not only with you, but this place. Right? You're connecting to more things, to understand more things. Okay, through being. Why we believe it always has to be out of doing is because we're up here. You don't come from here, you come from here. Okay? Next one. Here we go. And this one's a byproduct of that first claim, because we had to get that accessible. Okay, so here we go. Now, for everybody watching and listening to this video, I want to facilitate their infinite nature as a soul consciousness, right, to come through the heart and to extend it towards and through every bone that makes up their skeletal system, please. Every single bone that makes up their entire skeletal system. Because we're going to provide a compatible energy that mitigates any conflict. We're going to provide a supportive energetic expression, which is what is known as gene expression. And we're also going to enable the flow that presents the momentum, the traction for the changes we desire. Because whenever we want something in this world, right, the thing that we desire most, what is it always associated to? What part of our body? The brain, the kidney, the liver? No, it's our heart's desires. Why? Because the heart knows. That's where you come from. But we are taught and conditioned as a human to be thinkers. And the heart doesn't think, it feels. Okay. And we get taught that way, so we stay away from here. Right? To our own detriment. So I hope you really enjoyed this video, the discussion to be had, the insight and the wisdom to be provided, but also the free healing there for you. So please comment below and tell me how that felt. Any questions you have, post them down. I'll be happy to answer them. If you'd like to book a session with me, go to my appointment page at trulyholistic.net/appointments/. Please remember to like the video, to share this video on your social media platforms, as people need to know this. Okay, it's very important, very vital. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos like this. Till next time, catch you later.